We have used NPM and NPX without talking much about them. NPM actually stands for Node Package Manager and NPX stands for Node Package Runner. Let us learn a little bit about NPM and NPX. Let us go to google.com and search for NPM. And I usually like to go to the GitHub page of anything that I'm looking for. So I'm going to include GitHub also. And let's go to the GitHub page of NPM. So I've clicked on the first link and it says we've moved and CLI source code and pull requests now live at github.com/npm/CLI. So let's go to this link, and this seems to be the current page of the NPM CLI. Now this is the location where all of the NPM CLI source code is posted. Open source developers send pull requests and participate in the open source development process. If you scroll down just a little bit, you should be able to see the readme.md section. And usually every GitHub project has a readme.md and it will contain concise instructions and documentation. Also, a very important point to note is that the documentation that you find here in readme.md can be considered the most current documentation possible. This is because whenever open source developers make changes to their software and push their changes to github.com, they will typically update the readme.md. This is a standard practice in the open source community. So we can consider the documentation in readme.md file to be the most current one possible. Sometimes the official documentation is too big to fit in a single readme.md file. In such cases, the open source developers create a separate companion website just for the purposes of documentation, and they will include links to that companion website in the readme.md file. Let's scroll a little bit here to see if there is any documentation apart from installing and uninstalling. Looks like there is only information about installing and uninstalling, and as we suspected, there is a link for the companion website over here. Sometimes the same link is also listed here in the About section. So if we click one of those two links, we will be redirected to the companion website. So all in all, it is always a good idea to come to the GitHub page to either find the documentation right here in readme.md or to find links to the companion website. So let us click on this link, and now we have been redirected to a new website called docs.npmjs.com. Let us click on About NPM, and now we seem to have reached a place where we can find information about NPM. I have shown you this process because it is important to know how to search for documentation as well. So let us now read about NPM. If you look here, NPM consists of three distinct components: the website, the command line interface CLI, and the registry. We have already used the NPM CLI when we have run the commands npm start or npm install. We were using the npm CLI. Now let us look at what the website is and what the registry is. First, let's look at what the website is. I'm going to right click on npmjs.com and open it in a new tab. And in the home page, we see that there is a search text box. Now we can search for packages over here. Let us search for React. And when you type React, you can see a bunch of results. And let's click on React here. And as you can see, there is a little bit of documentation here, but not much. There is some information on the right side as well about some statistics, about versions, about the size, and about the number of issues pending, and about pull requests, and about the home page, and about the repository in GitHub. So if we want to learn more about React, we can either go to the home page or we can go to the GitHub repository from here. But let's search for a few more packages. Let's search for Redux, and as you can see, we have some results about Redux as well. if you click on one of them, you can see that there is some documentation about Redux as well, and also there is a companion website, redux.js.org, and the repository is github.com redux.js/redux. Now let us search for React calendar, for example. Let's say we are looking for a calendar control. So if we type in React space calendar, we get a few calendar libraries as well. Let us search for React scroll, for example, and there are a few components that are related to scrolling and scroll parallax, etc. So all in all, this website will help us to discover new libraries. This is not just limited to React, it's used by the entire ecosystem in JavaScript. So that was about the website. Now let's look at what the registry is. The registry is a large public database of JavaScript software. And let's click on the link here. So the NPM registry is called the JavaScript package registry because almost everyone in the JavaScript community puts their packages over here, and they are available mostly as open source packages to be used by everyone else. So to summarize, NPM is something that we use to install and manage dependencies hosted on the NPM registry. And when we run the command npm install redux, this is what happens. We run the command npm install redux using the npm CLI on our machine, and that talks to the npm registry over the internet, and it downloads and installs Redux onto our machine. Now, what is NPX then? NPX is a CLI to invoke other CLIs hosted on the NPM registry. Now, the NPM registry not only hosts libraries, it also hosts CLIs. So we can use NPX to invoke those CLIs. We have already used Create React App, and Create React App is actually a CLI, and we can use npx CLI to invoke the Create React App CLI. So when we execute the command npx create react app my app, what happens is npx, it temporarily downloads it and invokes it, and Create React App CLI will end up creating a React application. That is what we have done previously. So a quick recap: we have installed Node.js, and Node.js gives us access to npm, and Node.js also gives us access to the npx CLI, and we use npx to invoke the Create React App CLI.